house. Guest house, Lower Abbey. Guest house.
Abbey house. Lower Abbey. Lower Abbey. Large garden. Abbey house. Penrose. Penrose. Abbey Water Keys. Red Keys. Kitchen Elephants. Large garden. Cemetery. Abbey Park.
Animal pens. A book? Why would there be a book left out here? It's been left open. I wonder who was reading this. I wonder which work it is. Player says, oh God, this looks like a book of exorcism and occultism. Whatever this text was for, it certainly has no place in the Abbey. There's a loose page here. Oriath Pinan Osel Triboi Norioth Belforeth Camoi Astaroth Sobron Voices Male. Option 1 of 2 THESC are names of demons. This is a powerful ritual. Option 2 of 2 THESC almost look like the names of angels, but not any I recognize. Option 1 of 2 THESC are names of demons. This is a powerful ritual. Player says this writing on the side is in a different hand. The writing is in French. Wood from his door, linen, and wax for candles. Sounds like ingredients. The only person I know who speaks Burgundian French in the Abbey is Brother Guy. Was Guy trying to curse Otto? Muriel Otto. Otto's name is in the middle of a summoning circle. But why?
Elephants. Abbey Park. Cemetery. Elephants. Okay. Okay. Player says right hero. Option 1 of 2 option 1 of 2 keys. My old friend. Player says Mycia. 1463 1500. Okay. Cemetery. Sir William. Private house. Okay. 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 Private house. Sir William. Okay. Mr. William Bell. District. Okay. Library.
It's Brother Guy's old desk. Why are there still supplies here? Mostly writing tools and parchment inside except. But wait, what's this? Casper says, are those lemons? And a pen knife? Player says that's strange. What use would he have for lemons at his workstation? Old Bailey. Seb. Seb says you're free to wander, Andreas, but stay out of the library. Peter's or library. Old Bailey. Fabian. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Scriptorium. Church. Old Bailey. Sacristy. Casper says, oh no, the peasants looted everything in here, too. Option 1 of 4OH no. The ciborium and tabernacle have probably belonged to the Abbey for centuries. Option 2 of 4HMM. This may be more difficult than I had thought. Option 3 of 4O of course they did. The sacristy is just piles of gold in the shapes of crosses and candlesticks. Option 4 of 4 sacristy holds chalice, chibarum, and tabernacle the Abbey uses for Mass. This is sacrilege. Player says we should still look around to see if anything is left. Church. Casper says I don't see anything, Master. Oh, look. A journal. Player says it might be Guy's ledger. Let's take a look. Casper says I don't understand any of this. Player says let me take a look at these entries. The Abbey's income. Mostly donations from pilgrims. It's not much. These are the Abbey's expenses. Some of these numbers are awfully high. Wait a minute, I think I see now. Ah, of course Guy uses double bookkeeping. I use the same for the accounts at home. The Abbey is struggling to make ends meet, but the accounts seem to balance out. Oh? This page is not part of the ledger. It's just a sheet of parchment with a few notes. But why was it tucked away in this ledger like this? Hang on, those lemons we found in his desk. I wonder if he used lemon juice to write an invisible message? Oh, I think I do smell lemon on the parchment. Casper, bring me that candle over there. Player says if we hold the page above the fire we might find something. I don't see anything. Oh. There's something. Oh my. Guy was stealing from the Abbey. In March alone, he stole almost 7 florins worth of funds. Casper says that's as much as my father makes in months. Player says he's sending it to the account of an Augsburger man who is depositing it with the Fuggers. If Otto knew about this, Guy would certainly have motivation to silence him. At the very least, it's evidence we can use to show Guy was sending schemed money to a proxy account in Augsburg. Church. Sacristy. Carl says Peter's ordered everyone to keep out of the library. Including you, Tower. Church. Player says not even the crypt was spared from the looting. Church. Open. Library. Crypt. Edoc. Edoc. Edoc says who is there? Is it you, Lord? Come to claim my soul? Player says it's Andreas. Brother. Edoc says ah. Andreas, dear boy. Option 1 of 2 Areul? Option 2 of 2 Yo you don't look so good. Option 1 of 2 Areul? Edoc says I am, fine. The escape, to the library, left me, out of breath. Wheeze. I feel, aches, a heavy heart. But it will pass, if God wills it. Option 1 of 3 I wanted to ask you of the presents you mentioned earlier. Option 2 of 3 could someone help you? Florian, or? Option 3 of 3 I hope you don't die here, Edoc. It does not seem a fitting end. Option 1 of 3 I wanted to ask you of the presents you mentioned earlier. Option 1 of 2 surely you see situation has changed drastically. Option 2 of 2 if this is not the time to say something, I don't know when is. Option 1 of 2 surely you see situation has changed drastically. Player says if this presence wanted things to remain as they were, this has clearly failed. Edoc says wheeze, Andreas. Do not think of this, it is not the time. Make sure the brothers, the sisters, are well. Option 1 of 2 I will do what I can. Option 2 of 2 AEDOC, this is more important. Option 1 of 2 I will do what I can. Edoc says good, good. Wheeze. I must rest. Player says keep holding on, brother Edoc. Edoc says. Edoc. God bless you, Andreas. Crib, Frank. Frank says God bless you. Gernot. Gernot says God bless you, Andreas. Has anything new come to light in the investigation of Otto's death? Option 1 of 2 I must speak with you urgently about brother Guy. Option 2 of 2 nothing right now. Option 1 of 2 I must speak with you urgently about brother Guy. Gernot says now is really not the time to discuss the enmity between you, Andreas. I know you do not care for each other, but it's hardly appropriate. Player says Guy's been stealing from the Abbey. Gernot says pardon me? I must not have heard you right. Player says he's been obscuring it in the ledger, but the evidence is there. In March alone, he stole almost 7 florins worth of funds and sent it to the Fuggers, in Augsburg. Gernot says my God, that can't. How did you learn this? Player says I found a receipt in the back of the Abbey's ledger, written in lemon juice. If Otto somehow knew about this. Gernot says you can't think brother Guy would have killed him. Option 1 of 2 he absolutely would. Option 2 of 2 he might. Gernot says he's never much liked the peasants, but murder. I don't think violence of that kind is in his nature. I know his heart. You couldn't have made a mistake? Are you certain? Option 1 of 3 these are not the kinds of mistakes I make. Option 2 of 3 I am absolutely sure. Option 3 of 3 while you can check the receipt yourself. All you need is a candle. Gernot says I suppose I must. These times are so dark, Andreas. Even with the Lord's light to guide us, I do not know how we will go on when this is through. Sigh. There's little I can do about this now, but should we survive the coming days, the consequences for brother Guy will be dire. Option 1 of 2 thank you for hearing me out. Option 2 of 2 I am sorry this came to light in the way that it did. Option 1 of 2 thank you for hearing me out. Option 1 of 2 whatever you think of me and my intentions, I do care about Kearsarge. Option 2 of 2 I know this is not what you wanted to hear. Option 1 of 2 whatever you think of me and my intentions, I do care about Kearsarge. Gernot says we have not always seen eye to eye, but I have never doubted your care for this place. In that, at least, we are aligned. One final thing. Have you spoken with him about this? Player says no, not yet. Gernot says so he doesn't know he's been found out. Very well, go with God, now more than ever. Option 1 of 2 you as well, Father Gernot. Option 2 of 2 until later. Option 1 of 2 you as well, Father Gernot. Gernot. Gernot says God bless you, and scriptorium. Gernot. Frank. Frank. Guy. Guy says you asshole. You told Gernot. Option 1 of 2 I am sorry. He had to know. Option 2 of 2 OOPS. Option 1 of 2 I am sorry. Guy says you are a true bastard, Andreas Mailer, and you deserve the very worst of what's coming to you. Option 1 of 3 Brother Guy, I'd like to think we've been on reasonably good terms until now. Option 2 of 3 MAYBE, but you're not going to live to see it happen. Option 3 of 3 Say nothing. Option 1 of 3 Brother Guy, I'd like to think we've been on reasonably good terms until now. Player says tell me your side of the story. There has to be some reason for this other than simple greed. Guy says does there? Option 1 of 2 You re a bastard, Guy, but you're not stupid. You wouldn't do something this brazen without good reason. Option 2 of 2 Urea monk. You could hardly hope to spend this money without someone noticing. Option 1 of 2 Urea bastard, guy, but you're not stupid. You wouldn't do something this brazen without good reason. Guy says what a generous assessment, Andreas. Thank you ever so much. Player says you're very welcome. Guy says asshole. The money isn't for me. Player says say more. Guy says the money goes to help Jewish families who've been displaced or harassed elsewhere in the empire. They've had their lands stolen, business seized. Some have been forced to convert just to keep their lives. It's cruel. Option 1 of 3 mm very noble. But it's a lot of money, isn't it? Option 2 of 3 THAT explains why you were curious about the king's physician in Poland. Option 3 of 3 I never knew you had such a tender heart of Christian charity, Guy. Option 2 of 3 THAT explains why you were curious about the king's physician in Poland. Option 1 of 3 mm very noble. But it's a lot of money, isn't it? Guy says. Some of the money may be for me. As you said, I'm not stupid. I knew I would be found out eventually. I don't plan on remaining at Kiersau through the next year, anyway, and travel to France from the Bavarian Alps is not free. Option 1 of 2 Why wouldn't you remain at Kiersau? Current events notwithstanding. Option 2 of 2 But I don't understand. What does the fate of the empire's Jews matter to a Benedictine monk? Option 1 of 2 Why wouldn't you remain at Kiersau? Current events notwithstanding. Guy says I won't rot here for the rest of my life when Burgundy waits just across the Alps. I will see my home again, Andreas. I have to. Player says but I don't understand. What does the fate of the empire's Jews matter to a Benedictine monk? Guy says. Not every Jewish family was expelled from France. Those that agreed to convert were allowed to remain. My family was allowed to remain. The cemetery where their parents and grandparents were buried was sold for £11,000 to Renoir. And the Duke of Burgundy used the steels to construct the Sainte-Chapelle of Dijon. Option 1 of 2 THAT was more than 100 years ago, Guy. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 THAT was more than 100 years ago, Guy. Guy says yet the inquisitions and expulsions have not stopped. I doubt they ever will. My family may not be Jewish any longer, but I feel a responsibility to them all the same. Not that I'd expect you to understand that. Now, will you take the deal I've offered you? A quarter of the money once we get out of this. Option 1 of 3 No deal. I need to keep investigating. You're on my list. Option 2 of 3 HALF or I'll make sure the peasants drag you out of here screaming. Option 3 of 3 SEMS reasonable. It's a deal. Option 1 of 3 No deal. I need to keep investigating. You're on my list. Guy says curse you, Andreas. I didn't kill Otto. Player says why should I believe you? Guy says because I'm telling the truth. And I'm sure clever Andreas will find the real killer if he looks in the right place. Player says why don't you tell me what you plan to do with all that money first? Guy says what does that matter? Option 1 of 2 Urea bastard, Guy, but you're not stupid. You wouldn't do something this brazen without good reason. Option 2 of 2 Urea monk. You could hardly hope to spend this money without someone noticing. Option 1 of 2 Urea bastard, Guy, but you're not stupid. You wouldn't do something this brazen without good reason. Guy says what a generous assessment, Andreas. Player says you are very welcome. Guy says asshole. The money isn't for me. Player says say more. Guy says. The money goes to help Jewish families who've been displaced. They've had their lands stolen, business seized. Some have been forced to It's cruel. Option 3 of 3 I never knew you had such a tender heart of Christian charity. Option 1 of 3 mm very noble. But it's a lot of money, isn't it? Option 2 of 3 THAT explains why you were curious about the king's physician in Poland. Guy says I meant what I said. It's not right. What's been done to think whatever you like about it, but my cause is a personal one. Player says why? What does the fate of the empire's Jews matter to a Benedictine? Guy says. Not every Jewish family was expelled from France. Those that agreed to convert were allowed. My family was allowed to remain. The cemetery where their parents and grandparents were buried was, and the Duke of Burgundy used the steels to construct the Sainte-Chapelle of Dijon. Option 1 of 2 THAT was more than 100 years ago. Option Guy says even if I wanted to pay my respects to my forebears, I could not, because I don't know where their bodies lie. My family may not be Jewish any longer, but I feel a responsibility to them all. Not that I'd expect you to understand that. Player says one more thing, Guy. Did you receive a note? Guy says. Yes. I should have destroyed it, but it intrigued me. The handwriting is beautiful. Almost as good as mine. Option 1 of 3 GUI. We both know it's better. Option 2 of 3 EVEN. After all this, you're still the same arrogant asshole. Option 3 of 3 MAY. I see it. Option 1 of 3 GUI. We both know it's better. Guy says your opinion is noted. Here it is. I'm glad to be rid of it. Player says he knows. He's knows and he's coming for you. The Rot House. After St. John's fire. Guy says there it is. I don't know how the author knew what I was up to, but I admit, it startled me. Player says who else could have known? Guy says how should I know? Maybe Matthew got suspicious. He's always watched me around the sacristy. The note isn't specific. He knows. He who? Option 1 of 2 Are you saying it was simply a gamble, a provocation without basis, hoping you'd kill Otto? Option 2 of 2 It was enough to spook you. Option 1 of 2 Are you saying it was simply a gamble, a provocation without basis, hoping you'd kill Otto? Guy says how should I know what's behind this? Whoever wrote this knew I was up to something. Player says or they made an educated guess. Guy says either way, they know more about me than I'm comfortable with. Player says interesting. Until later, brother Guy. Guy says God bless you. Guy. Guy says Andreas. Player says brother Guy. Guy says it seems like it would be quite a risk for you to come through the crypt to see us. Shouldn't you be out trying to prove that someone killed Otto? Someone who isn't the abbot? Option 1 of 3 THAT is exactly why I'm here. I need to talk to you. Option 2 of 3 JUST because it wasn't the abbot doesn't mean it wasn't one of the monks. Option 3 of 3 RIGHT. I'll get back to it. Option 1 of 3 THAT is exactly why I'm here. Guy says oh? I'll help in any way I can. Player says I know about the money you were stealing from the Guy says keep why? Keep your voice down. Where did you hear that? Player says I'm asking the question. Guy says do go on. Option 1 of 2 I found the book you were hiding in the abattoir. Guy says I don't know what you're talking about. Player says what can I say? I'm being thorough in my search. Guy says so you found a book in the abattoir? Option 1 of 3 WITH notes in Burgundian. Option 2 of 3 It's a magical text I'm quite familiar with. Option 3 of 3 EVEN to the uneducated, it doesn't look good. Option 2 of 3 It's a magical text I'm quite familiar with. Guy says oh, you would be. You're obsessed with those things. You're lucky the peasants haven't already burned you in Ferenc for witchcraft. Player says me? You're the one with a necromancy manual bookmarked to magical murder rituals. Guy says dementia, not murder. Anyway I didn't go through with the ritual. If I had and it had worked, he'd be a drooling idiot, not dead. Option 1 of 2 that's it. That's all I know at the moment. Option 2 of 2 NEVER mind. Option 1 of 2 that's it. That's all I know at the Guy says and that's all you will know, because there's nothing more to know. If there's nothing else, God bless you, Andreas. Guy. Guy. Florian. Florian says Andreas Mailer. I am, as always, glad to see you, but surely you have put yourself at risk by sneaking in here. You cannot keep yourself out of danger and trouble, can you? Option 1 of 2 I do seem to have a knack for it. Option 2 of 2 it is trouble that finds me, not the opposite. Option 1 of 2 I do seem to have a knack for it. Florian says may God watch over you and grant safe passage through harm. Still, I must ask. Why have you come to the library? Player says I wanted to see how you all are holding up. Florian says we are not out of danger, if that is what you have in mind. The peasants are on edge, and we are stuck. Option 1 of 3 why you fear they truly want more violence? Option 2 of 3 it's all for show, they wouldn't dare to go further. Option 3 of 3 such is the brutal nature of the rustic. Option 1 of 3 why you fear they truly want more violence? Florian says they may not be trained soldiers, but it does not take much military acumen to burn down a building full of books. If they hurt the abbot or damage the abbey, the Duke's armies will not show leniency. Believe me, a direct confrontation with real soldiers will end in a slaughter. Player says you've said much about the peasants, but what of you and your brothers? Florian says oh, I am well, Andreas. I have been through worse, the Battle of the Cosman, the Siege of Dorneck Castle. Death and suffering. Too much of that, perhaps, for a young mind. Ah, long enough ago by now. Here, others who hold my attention. I worry about Folkbert and Rudger. They are gentle people, not able to withstand this terror and violence, but I am especially worried about Edok. Option 1 of 2 I tried talking to him. He didn't look good. Option 2 of 2 what's the matter with Edok? Option 1 of 2 I tried talking to him. He didn't look good. Florian says he is old and frail, and his health has grown worse since we fled here. He remarks of pains of the chest. I am cut off from my tools, and were it not so, I am unsure of what might help against his affliction, perhaps Salvia salvatrix, or Papaver somniferum. Option 1 of 2 I am willing to do what I can to help. Option 2 of 2 I wish I could help, but I have to solve Otto's murder. Option 1 of 2 I am willing to do what I can to help. Florian says you are good of heart, Andreas. Asking Sister Gertrude might be most prudent in this case. She knows the plants best. Player says speaking of herbal matters, could you look at this plant I found? It may be connected to Otto Zimmermann's death. Florian says let me see. It looks familiar, but I'm afraid I don't know. Sister Gertrude is the herbalist. If anyone in Kiersau knows, it's her, and if anyone in Tassing knows, it's Agnes Steinaueren. Though I understand why asking her may be difficult considering what happened to her husband. Player says yes, indeed. Thank you for your help, Brother Florian. Florian says anytime. Florian. Hello, Andreas. Lucas. Lucas says God keep you safe, Folkbert. Folkbert says no. Lucas says Folkbert, it's going to be all right. Folkbert says how can you know that, Lucas? Lucas says trust in providence, brother. The Lord guides us through Gethsemane. Folkbert says they are going to hurt us. Lucas says they won't. Look, Andreas is here. He will help. Option 1 of 2 Lukas, Folkbert. Yes, I will help any way I can. Option 2 of 2 I am not sure what I can actually do. Option 1 of 2 Lukas, Folkbert. Yes, I will help any way I can. Lucas says it's all looking better already, Folkbert. God has sent us a mediator. Folkbert says sniff. I don't want to die. Option 1 of 2 you not going to. Option 2 of 2 you need to toughen up, Folkbert. Option 1 of 2 you not going to. Folkbert says we all will. No non, oh please. Lucas says Folkbert, peace and calm, think of the heavenly realms above us, where angels sing praise to our Lord every day. Folkbert says will I join them, if I die? Lucas says we all join the choir, one day. But you won't die here, Folkbert. Listen to Andreas. He will help us. Player says stay safe, brothers. I'll go try to solve this mess before anyone else gets hurt. Lucas says God bless you. Folkbert says God save us. Lucas. Folkbert, Lucas. Florian. Matthew. Matthew says God bless you, Andreas, Rudger. Rudger says Unsar Troden hat far salt sankt Peter Geult. Das Mac Genrian ze imo dingenten man, Kyrie, Elason. Christ, Elason. Option 1 of 2 keep listening. Option 2 of 2 brother Rudger, is that the Petruslied? Option 1 of 2 keep listening. Rudger says hapit hu mitu orchen himmelriches porchen. Option 1 of 2 keep listening. Option 2 of 2 brother Rudger, what are you whispering? Option 1 of 2 keep listening. Rudger says dar in mock skirian, den ui linerian. Kyrie, Elason. Christ, Elason. Sigh. Option 1 of 2 Rudger, that was the Petruslied, right? Option 2 of 2 I like it. Option 1 of 2 Rudger, that was the Petruslied, right? Player says it was nice to hear Altberisk, even as I don't understand it fully. Rudger says. Matthew says you impress me, Master Mailer. I would not have guessed you had much in common with Rudger. Option 1 of 2 I do like the song. Option 2 of 2 I have layers, Brother Matthew. Option 1 of 2 I do like the song. Matthew says a song meant for times of need, and I believe we are in need at this time. I worry about Brother Rudger. He has been deep in prayer ever since we fled into the library. All this violence and strife does not conform with his gentle soul. Option 1 of 4 you really care for him, don't you? Option 2 of 4 don't worry, Brother Rudger, it will be all right. Option 3 of 4 you have to be tougher, brother. This is a harsh world. Option 4 of 4 Abbott really should have known something like this could happen. Option 1 of 4 you really care for him, don't you? Matthew says. This kind and thoughtful man. Who wouldn't? Rudger says you'll find out who killed Otto, won't you? Option 1 of 3 I have to. There's too much at stake. Option 2 of 3 I am hoping to. Option 3 of 3 we LLC. It's too early to say anything definitive. Option 1 of 3 I have to. There's too much at stake. Matthew says see, I told you. Rudger says. Kyrie, Elason. Christ, Elason. Option 1 of 2 Brother Rudger, why don't you sing for the others to hear? Option 2 of 2 I will leave you be. Bless you, both. Option 1 of 2 Brother Rudger, why don't you sing for the others to hear? Rudger says the others? Player says yes, all your brothers. You're the cantor. Yours is the voice that leads them. Rudger says I don't. Option 1 of 2 you can do it. Option 2 of 2 all right. Option 1 of 2 you can do it. Player says I believe in you and Matthew believes in you. Matthew says we all do. Rudger says all right. I suppose I can try.
Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison. Unser Trotin hat versandt, Sancte Petre Gewalt, dass mag Jan, semodigenden Mann, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison.
Matthew. Rudger. Matthew. Matthew says Rudger. Matthew. Rudger. Wojcislav. Wojcislav. Player says hello, brother Wojcislav. Do you have a moment? Wojcislav says of course, Andreas. What do you need? Player says I was hoping to seek your guidance about who may have killed Otto. Wojcislav says I don't know how much I can help you, Andreas. I'm afraid I didn't concern myself too much with Tassing's troubles. Player says surely you can recall something Otto did that made someone angry. Wojcislav says Otto was not always an easy man to get along with. He's clashed with several brothers here over the years. Option 1 of 3 I understand. I didn't always get along with him myself. Option 2 of 3 anything recently. Option 3 of 3 well you're no help. Option 2 of 3 anything recently. Wojcislav says let me think. Several of the brothers were upset when he demanded Father Gernot reveal the abbey's financial records. Option 1 of 6 he does have a point. The abbey is still doing well compared to the peasants. Option 2 of 6 a bold move on his part. Option 3 of 6 what an ass. Option 4 of 6 Father Gernot is a man of God. Surely he wouldn't be upset. Option 5 of 6 that's just good business practice and negotiation. Option 6 of 6 Gernot mentioned Guy did the record keeping for the abbey. Was he the most upset? Wojcislav says Andreas, I shouldn't bring up abbey concerns to outsiders. Player says please, brother Wojcislav. Any information you can give me could help stop further violence. Wojcislav says I did see brother Guy rooting around in the abattoir the other day. He was startled when I questioned him, but if he was already on edge about Otto's demands, then no wonder. I know that brother Guy and Otto never got along, but brother Guy has never been a violent man. Option 1 of 3 I wonder if there was anything else going on. Option 2 of 3 maybe I should talk to brother Guy about it. Option 3 of 3 Guy is a coward, and Otto backed him into a corner. Who knows what he could do if pushed. Wojcislav says, there's already enough strife in Tassing, Andreas. Be careful how you proceed. Player says I will. Thank you, brother Wojcislav. Wojcislav says God bless you, Andreas. Wojcislav. God bless you, Andreas. Rudger. Matthew. Florian. Guy. Frank. Crypt.